Welcome to the YouTube channel of Legally Trust. This video is one of the series of educational videos that will be available on this channel under the category General Awareness.
Hello friends, in today's video, let us understand the concept of book building, underwriting for equity offerings and timetable for equity offerings. Regulation 2, subsection 1, clause G of the SEBI Issue of Capital and Disclosure Requirements Regulations of 2018, that is the ICDR regulations, defines book building as a process undertaken to elicit demand and to assess the price for determination of the quantum or value or coupon of specified securities or Indian depository receipts as the case may be in accordance with these regulations. The book building process can be either voluntary or compulsory. A company must undertake a book-built issue if it does not fulfill the eligibility requirement conditions. If a company fulfills those conditions, undertaking a book-built issue is optional. However, the trend is that even in cases where it is optional, issuers opt for book-built issues. In the case of a voluntary book-built issue, the allocation in the net offer to the public category must be as follows. Not less than 35% to retail institutional investors, that is RIIs, not less than 15% to non-institutional investors, not more than 50% to qualified institutional buyers, that is the QIBs, 5% of which must be allocated to mutual funds. Any unsubscribed portion in either of the first two categories above can be allocated to applicants in any other category. For the QIB portion, in addition to the mandatory 5% reservation, mutual funds are eligible for allocation under the balance available for other QIBs. In a compulsory book-built issue, the allocation in the net offer to the public category must be as follows. Not more than 10% to RIIs, not more than 15% to non-institutional investors, not less than 75% to QIBs, 5% of which must be allocated to mutual funds. Any unsubscribed portion in either of the first two categories above can be allocated to applicants in any other category. In respect of the QIB portion, in addition to the mandatory 5% reservation, mutual funds are eligible for allocation under the balance available for other QIBs. In an issue made through book building process, the issuer can allocate up to 60% of the portion available for the allocation of QIBs to anchor investors in accordance with the conditions specified in Schedule 13 of the ICDR regulations. Now let us understand the concept of underwriting for equity offerings. Under the SEBI Issue of Capital and Disclosure Requirements Regulations of 2018, while the underwriting is in the case of a fixed-priced IPO is optional, a book-built IPO must be mandatorily underwritten. However, the Indian concept of underwriting is essentially soft underwriting, that is, when an underwriter agrees to purchase the securities after finalization of the pricing. The issuer enters into an underwriting agreement with the underwriters, that is, the merchant bankers and the syndicate members, after the closure of the issue. The underwriting obligations comes into effect only in the case of a prospective investor having failed to have honored the payment commitment that it made at the time of submitting the application form. If the other syndicate members fail to fulfill their underwriting obligations, the lead merchant banker must fulfill the underwriting obligation. The scope of the underwriting obligation is for at least 90% of the offer through the offer document. Therefore, underwriting can be undertaken only to the extent of minimum subscription for the pure fresh issue and to the extent of meeting the public float requirements, that is 10% or 25% in pure offer for sale. Accordingly, underwriters can limit their obligations to the extent of minimum subscription. If the issue is successfully subscribed, an underwriting obligation does not arise. This is distinct from the hard underwriting that has traditionally been practiced in the US and certain Asian finance hubs. The underwriting fees and commissions are typically factored into the fees that are charged by the merchant bankers, which range between 1% to 2.5% of the aggregate issue size. The underwriting obligation aims only to ensure that the IPO is not a failure. Now let us understand timetable for equity offerings. An IPO is a time-consuming process given the regulatory requirements that an issuer must fulfill before the actual listing takes place. An IPO can take around 6 to 12 months from the date the issuer decides to undertake an IPO. Once the issue opens, listing must take place within 6 days of the issue closing date. However, the SEBI has established a framework for reducing the timeline for public issues from the current 6 days to 3 days in a phased manner by making it mandatory for intermediaries to provide retail investors the option of bidding through the Unified Payment Interface mechanism. Hope this video was informative. Thank you for watching.
Hope the information contained in this video was useful to you. We look forward to each one of your support and cooperation in making this initiative a success. For more details about the trust, do visit us at www.legalaidtrust.in. Kindly subscribe this channel and click on the bell icon to get the latest updates about various law-related educational videos. Thank you for watching us and have a good day.